So fuck yes, welcome to After the Hype. With me, your host is always Bryan Dressel. With me, as always, is Jonathan Hardesty.
I'm here.
Emily Blake.
I'm also here.
Chewie's at work.
Not here.
Today we have special guest Kristy Lowrey. Hi.
Hi.
Did I say your last name right?
Yeah, Lowrey, like Mike Lowrey.
I always remember to ask before, except for this time.
Lowrey.
Kristy Lowrey was a staff writer on The Badlands.
Yes.
That's exciting.
Into the Badlands, yes.
Do you have anything else you'd like to plug right off the gate?
I was also a writer on 12 Monkeys. So if you don't watch that, watch it. It's a great sci-fi series. But also was an assistant on Shades of Blue on NBC. But if you like Jennifer Lopez, Ray Liotta.
Oh, I do like both of them.
I saw that on
one of their song. I used one of Jennifer Lopez's songs in our playlist this past week.
Oh yeah.
Someone else used another one.
Yeah.
There are two J-Lo songs on our playlist.
I actually got to watch a little bit of what is it? Blue.
Shades of Blue.
Shades of Blue
Yeah.
on an airplane on mute because I didn't have a headphone, and it looked.
The writing was great.
The writing was top notch.
I recently worked on a project with one of her ex-boyfriends, so there you go.
There you go. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It's all connected.
All connected.
It's very network crazy in a good way, just like one of those every act outs. My dad, oddly enough, been on other shows, talks about Shades of Blue more than any show. He'll be like, "Oh, did you see what happened on Shades of Blue?" I was like, "Yeah, Dad, I also don't work on that." And I was just an assistant. Please watch some other shows. He's like, "Shades of Blue is crazy." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, it is crazy, but also just watch some other stuff." It's very like, it's NBC, it's down the middle, it's that kind of thing. So, but yeah.
Yeah, I usually get the apologies of I didn't watch your show today. I'm like, it's fine. I'm totally okay with it. Oy. Okay, so let's do a quick Where Have You Been Doing? I will go first. I've been promising my wife, who's not here today, that I will watch the show Legion since it came out, and I finally watched it this past week. I think it was a little overhyped to me. Because everyone under the sun said it's the greatest thing in the entire world.
Because it is.
It's not, though. I mean, it's really good.
It looks cool.
Yeah, it's so well shot.
Yeah.
Like, so well shot.
I fell out after a couple episodes of it.
Yeah, see, that's kind of...
It's Noah Hawley, right? The Fargo guy.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's gonna be at a baseline. Cool.
No, but it's not even
It's
just
better than Fargo, in my opinion.
Well, I haven't watched Fargo, but it's a very well written, well shot. The music is great. The design is like perfect. It falls apart for me a little bit on the acting. I'm not a big Dan Stevens fan. I think he's good. I don't think this was the best role for him. I've never been a big fan of Aubrey Plaza, though this is probably the best she's ever done. And then the fighting girl I thought was really lacking, but I loved the relationship that she had. So like there was a lot of good and a lot of okay. There was like nothing bad though. So
Did you watch the whole season?
I did. Yeah, I watched
Okay.
the whole thing in about 3 days, and I think it's probably better binged than if I had to wait week to week because there's so many little things going throughout the whole thing. I think I would have gone nuts.
I think I was waiting week to week, and after about the third, I was like, meh.
Yeah, I think if you were to go back and try
though.
to just watch it like just straight through, it's a really good ride. Like it's fun, it's engaging, it's very comic booky and not at the same time. Like I think they did a good job with it, but yeah, I think it was definitely overhyped because when I went in, I'm like, there's no way this thing will be as good as everyone said it was going to be, and it wasn't that good, but it was still very good.
I always heard mixed too. There's people who loved it, and people were like,
Yeah, no,
That's
I
fine.
fucking love
"You did love
Yeah.
it, yeah."
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
that Chewie was the
Preacher,
same way.
Like the best 2 shows of the last year for me.
I didn't watch Preacher season 2 yet. I've only watched like 3 episodes.
I feel like season 1 was better, but Preacher is still good.
I'll have to finish season 2 at some point. I paid for it. I bought it on Amazon. then I got bored with it. That's it for me though.
So I've been on a kick of watching web series lately, and I happened to watch one that one of our co-hosts worked on, Or Die Trying.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I watched that mainly because I saw Facebook ads worked for a web series. I got one in there, and it was a picture of you guys on set. You were in the middle of the frame, and everyone was looking at like a monitor or something. I was like,
Oh, yeah.
it's like, oh, that's the one she worked on. And someone else had recommended I watch this one. So I was like, okay, cool, I'll watch it. And yeah, I really liked it. It was really well done. I liked how kind of understated it was. And yeah, no, it was. I liked everything about it. It was well shot. Everything looked fine, and yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah, the other thing is they got a grant for having an almost all female crew. We had
Sweet.
four men. That is we had 4 men on crew, and one of those was like a grip who only worked for 1 day. So, yeah, our crew was almost entirely female, which was pretty rad.
It was, yeah, and it kind of translates to the show itself. It felt very this is so reductive, but it felt very female. But in a good way, in a way that like there's a lot of web series that tend to be just a couple guys with a camera doing a thing, and they get kind of, for lack of a better word, male.
I mean, I made one of those. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I'm unfortunately being very reductive about it, but there is kind of a different sensibility with what you do episode to episode and the overall arc that, for myself even too, for stuff I've done, I'm very more plot oriented, and this was very moment oriented and character oriented, and I really liked that about it. It was a lot more mellow, which I wasn't expecting, but very delighted by.
And for people who haven't heard of it, it's just about these chicks who are trying to make it in Hollywood in different ways. One's a comedian, one's an actress, one's a writer, and the other, I guess the other one's an actress too. But like, yeah, they're all like, or die. We'll make it or die trying. So it's just all about being young and new to Hollywood and trying to get your shit together.
Yeah, and the first episode starts with a excuse me, a long take, which, hey, you know what? I'm a fan of that. So you get me.
I got some great trivia about that one because the actress who's playing like the boyfriend who's the reason for the fight or whatever in the very beginning, he's like 6. I don't know. He's like 6 foot. He's huge. He looks well
big.
Over 6 foot. So we were only able to get one take of that tracking shot where we didn't catch the China ball in frame because every time he passed through the room, his head was too close to the China ball to frame it out. So it took us forever to figure out how to. So I learned something about doing a tracking shot with a very tall guy. Huh. Don't do it.
Tall guys suck.
And is this just online? Where is this?
YouTube. They've got their first season on YouTube, and it's like 8 episodes, I think.
I think so. Yeah.
It's weird because weirdly enough, you expect that it's going to be fairly long going into any series on any platform, but they're pretty short episodes too. Yeah, so like true. I was through it a lot faster than I expected. Cool. Yeah.
Really?
I finally watched Glow, which everyone's been talking about.
I like Glow.
I'm about halfway through it.
Yeah.
Or maybe a little before than half.
Overall, I really enjoy it. I loved the female friendship aspect of it, just the exploration of what female friendship means, because that is a recurring theme through the whole thing. I like how they handled pregnancy and abortion, and I like really quickly, but it was in there. And I just love some of the choices they made. Like the Sheila the Wolf Girl, the fact that like she's so fucking weird, but this is the place where everyone accepts her. And like watching her be accepted and be so like, everyone likes me. No one is making fun of me. How fucking weird. And my only complaint is in the pilot, Mark Maron's character has like a fantasy about what he sees when he looks at these women and the potential for the show that he's making. And I wish there'd been more of that. I wish there'd been more stylistic choices because it was so 80s. I wish that they had done more like... They did a montage, but the montage felt a little bit like they didn't go far enough. Like they could have done it. Like they did a little bit of 80s montage. I wish they could have like 80s did the fuck up. Like I want to see it to be more stylistically 80s.
They could have done like stuff that we talked about last week in Why Don't You Play in Hell? Like that kind of like... The shot I'm thinking of is where she's running through the flower field with the swords and like just colored like blood is shooting out, like super stylistic.
Yeah. But I like the story a lot. I like the relationships. But yeah, exactly. There could be more. It needed a little bit more.
Get the glow, the neon glow, because Netflix advertises with a lot of style for that show.
Right.
And you don't want it to be for no reason, but since this show is so quintessentially 80s in its idea, and the wrestling, come on, you could have just
wrestling is all show and style, right? So yeah.
But the show itself, the story is really good.
I thought the acting is really good. Yeah. Okay. This week I recently watched the season 4 premiere for Broad City.
Ooh.
Does anyone watch? Oh God.
I watched all of season 1 and I really enjoyed it, and then I never went to season 2 and I have no excuse why.
Oh. It's one of those shows I would have said like not for me, and then I started binge watching. I watched the first 3 seasons, and so I've had to actually wait for this one, and it just came out. I don't know. I don't know if it's something about the actresses, because they write some of the episodes, and I think they also direct. I don't know if they do all of them, but there's just something about that, like that you can tell they control all of it, and it's just so good. But the season 4 premiere was really good. Not what I expected. They did like this how Abby and Alana met. So they did like
I heard about that,
flashback to like 2011, but they do these 2 storylines, and you don't actually know which one of them is the truth and which one of them is just something someone made up. I don't know. You don't know until the end, and then you're like, oh, that's how they met. But it's a great show. I always tell people about, I think it's season 1, episode 3, the Costco chicken episode.
Okay, sure, yeah.
one of my favorites. Did you like? Do you know the one I'm talking about?
I remember it vaguely. I watched it when it aired, so it's
Okay.
been a few years now.
I'll like randomly go and just pick that episode and watch it because I think it's just the funniest episode. I call it the Costco Chicken. I'm sure it has a actual title, but definitely recommend Broad City on Comedy Central. Season 4 is just now airing, but you can find Hulu. I want to say
they're on Hulu. Yeah.
Hulu? Yeah. Highly recommend. 30 minutes. It's really quick, but it's one of the funniest shows I think on television right now.
Okay, so I apologize, but I feel like it's time to talk about The Mummy.
What a segue. we all have fun, and then it's time to talk about The Mummy. Oh, well, damn. I'm sorry, folks.
So I chose The Mummy for this week almost entirely just to make sure that I saw the movie, which is very selfish of me, I know. But I still thought it'd bring up a pretty good conversation. We'll get into it here shortly. The thing I want to bring up immediately is that this is one of the worst reviewed movies of the year, which is exciting. It's supposed to be starting off a universe. We'll see how that works. And it's one of the biggest flops of the year. Only domestically. Worldwide, it actually did fine. It cost $125. It made $80 here, which is horrific. And then it made $407 worldwide.
Why?
Because Tom Cruise.
Everyone's ruining it for us.
Yep.
He does running in this. He runs in this movie, and that is, man, that's good.
But very little, I think, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
not enough.
it's less than
There was
normal.
like
less than normal.
one scene. I was like, oh.
But I cherished it. We'll get to it.
Yeah. We'll definitely get. You can't talk about Tom Cruise without talking about running, so we'll get there for sure. But first, we have to do a breakdown. Okay, so you have 30 seconds to say everything that happens in 2017's The Mummy. Can you do it?
I hope. I don't know. I'm just gonna say I don't know if it'll fit in 30 seconds, but
All right, here we go.
All right. Tom Cruise is a military sergeant who also loots precious antiquities, and they stumble upon this Egyptian tomb, which is actually a prison that's holding a Egyptian goddess who didn't fulfill a dark pact she was trying to unleash, but she picks Tom Cruise as her chosen one, so she chases him. Somewhere in there they run into Dr. Jekyll, and she chases him and he ruins the pact and becomes a monster at the end.
All right, I'll let it go. It's a little bit of a long wrap up, but I'll let it go.
30 seconds is quicker than I thought, man.
Yeah, it goes by really fast. We used to do 20 seconds, and then no one could do it, and I felt a little bad, and we had to dial it back a little bit. It's not like me to feel bad about stuff, but you know. Okay, so this is a tough movie to like throw a dart at and say, let's start there. So we're gonna start in the best way possible. What did we like about it?
I like Jake Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
Johansson.
I think it's Jake Johnson.
In this movie, I really enjoyed his weird fucking appearances.
His presence was fun. Yeah.
He's the guy who plays Nick in The New Girl, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, not a fan. I actually don't think he's a bad actor. I think that they just put him in the movie and said, "All right, just be the guy from New Girl."
It was.
Yeah, that's what I like.
Yeah.
I was like, you don't belong in this movie.
But
Yay.
did anyone find? I mean, that was the only way they were gonna get him in. But like the dead, like talking to him as he was dead, or like
The American Werewolf in London
between,
thing?
or in the in between. I don't know what it is. I just thought it was weird. I was like, I guess they wanted to keep his character.
I mean,
I guess he had to give him information.
it's a total lift from American Werewolf in London. I mean, and it works great in American Werewolf in London. This movie, it feels really weird.
Like he's locking himself in the women's
I like
bathroom.
his voice, so I like listening to him talk.
Yeah, okay, I'll give you
And I
that.
liked his makeup.
And they kind of
Could have
drop
been better.
and they drop him too. Like at a certain point in the movie, he's just not really a part of it anymore.
Yeah,
And it's so
well, then he comes back to life, and then he's part of it again.
Yeah.
To,
Yeah.
again,
Thanks-
spout out the
thanks, buddy,
same
for
lines from the beginning.
resurrecting
So
I know.
you come full circle at the end. You're like, wait, did any of the movie just happen?
I mean, it's
Yeah.
a real Moffat ending.
yeah.
I'm trying to think of something I liked in it.
I am too. Let me think.
Yeah.
I
we
thought-
got to keep this pause in
Yeah,
there.
yeah, I will say the action sequences were adequately shot. Like the bus thing was kind of cool, but it was spoiled in the trailer. Like I liked that he kind of gets hit by a bus, but he
Yeah.
like folds himself into the
Yeah,
window, so
that's
he
kinda
does it.
cool.
That was kind of a cool little thing.
Yeah, that was a nice
I
touch.
like the mummy lady has cool faces. Like
She does have cool
Yeah.
faces,
Yeah.
and she has strategic bandages.
Yeah.
And I liked what they were trying to do with, like the whole like the kiss of death thing, with like what the mummies were doing. How she was like subjugating all men, really, with
Yeah,
her kiss.
but-
Like it was clumsily handled, sure, and not
So
follow
much was
through.
clumsily handled.
But
Yeah.
but I liked what it was starting to go for.
Well, the problem with that, and we can get into it a little bit later, that leads to what Chewie thought, because she watched it with me yesterday, was the biggest offense in the movie, which is Tom Cruise kind of rapes the money to death a little bit.
Yeah.
Like the way that she kisses the guys, they get all like shaky and like, no, my life is being drained from me and I die. The way he kisses her toes curl. She gets really kind of like erotically like kind of charged.
she writhes.
Yeah, and then she dies in the fetal position. Like it's kind of fucked up.
there's a weird coded thing in that the way that whole thing is shot too. That is, I felt uncomfortable watching it.
Yeah, it got an audible, oh, what the fuck, from Chewie while we were watching it.
Yeah.
It was poorly handled, to say the least.
I will say that Russell Crowe fighting Tom Cruise in that weird accent, that Cockney accent, like, hey, guy. I thought it was funny.
I enjoyed Russell Crowe's Jekyll and Hyde. I'll give you that much.
Yeah.
I would
I
have.
don't understand that choice.
It's a weird choice.
It's so weird of a choice.
I didn't love it. Yeah, I was like, why? For one, I was like, why is he in this? I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about the Monster Universe, like trying to launch
Yeah.
that. And I was like, why is Jekyll?
One thing
I also
will
like
say-
that. I mean, we'll bring it up in quotes because it's definitely my line. But Russell Crowe refers to Tom Cruise as a younger man when Tom Cruise is 2 years older than Russell Crowe.
Yeah. So
One thing I love about Russell Crowe is I forgot he was in this movie because I forgot everything about this movie. But when he shows up in silhouette, I was immediately like, just seeing his silhouette, I went, oh, that's Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
Like you can tell just looking at the outline of his body that that's him.
If we had Sam on this episode, I'm sure she would have been very excited. Like, oh, I love fat Russell Crowe. She has a very strong argument why fat Russell Crowe is better than skinny Russell Crowe.
I can
Interesting.
get along with
He's a
that.
little bit on the bigger
I'd be
side,
willing to be
yeah.
there for that
Yeah.
debate.
Oh yeah, I mean, it really comes into play in The Nice Guys.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, that movie.
But, like,
can we be reviewing that movie instead?
We've already done that.
But Russell Crowe is like doing stuff in this movie. He's acting the heck out of it, and I think he's having a lot of fun doing it, and that actually shows for me.
Well, yeah, no, because he kind of leaned into the camp, and
Yeah.
nothing else in the movie did,
Right.
which is fine if this wanted to be a horror movie, but it didn't know what it wanted to be.
Right.
I think he was aware of what Universal monster movies were, and kind of like I think he was the
Well,
most
I mean,
prepared going into this actually for what it was. But-
Universal monster horror movies were horror movies.
Yeah.
They were horrifying when they came out. Like they scared people. Like The Mummy
There's
was
nothing scary.
Yeah, The Mummy was a frightening film when it came out in the 30s. Like
Yeah.
people thought it was like the scariest thing you could go see. Like the way that it was shot, Boris Karloff, all of it was fantastic. And then when Kurtzman said he was taking on this movie, he was like, just be prepared. We're bringing the horror back to these monster movies. Whoops.
Yeah, there was nothing really. Whenever they did the crow scene and the rat scene, because I was thinking about the original, or not the original, the Brandon Fraser.
Sure, yeah.
Like scarab beetles. I was like, that was kind of cool. It's like rats and crows feels like it's just been done, or it's not. I don't know. It wasn't.
It misses
scary.
a
It's just
thing.
like
The scarabs are so terrifying in
Yeah.
that
they
movie.
crawl in your skin, like it. Yeah, and
Yeah.
this was just like rats and crows. I was like, okay.
Did you guys catch the reference to the Brandon Fraser one?
Yes, the library
Book
book.
of Life.
Yeah.
She clocks a guy in the face with it and they drop it. They're saying technically that means this could be in the same universe.
Oh, in the way that
I
all
missed
things
it.
are.
Yay.
Try to explain that one.
Can I just like get my main problem with this movie? There are a lot, but I have one that's
What's
like,
the biggest?
just like the beginning.
The first act.
The voiceover of like
Yeah, during
So you
okay,
mean like when
guys.
the Dark Universe logo comes up and you're
Yeah.
like, nope,
Yeah.
fuck you.
Yeah.
oh, I was over in the kitchen grabbing myself a drink when I saw that logo come on with the music, like, and I'm like, oh, come on. And I was like, oh, come
You are
on.
counting your chickens before they're hatched,
Okay,
Universal.
Right.
Yeah, for real. To learn from Lost in Space. So, all right, let's get down to why this story happens. So this lady is raised to be the queen, and all right, cool. She's like what, 19 or whatever. She's super stoked about being queen, and then her dad,
Total badass, yeah.
total badass. And then her dad bangs another lady and knocks her up. So this chick is like, oh shit, I'm not gonna be queen now because patriarchy. Okay, I'm down with that. So her decision is to, she could take a knife, go into the other room, kill her dad, kill the baby. I think the lady died in childbirth or whatever.
I think they say she killed her too.
All right, she
at one
killed.
point, yeah.
Okay, so she could stab her dad, stab the baby, stab the lady, and become queen. Instead, she calls a demon to come into her and then also needs her to kill another dude so the demon can come into him so that it can give her the power to go stab her dad and stab a baby and stab a lady.
Who are all asleep.
I don't understand and then my other, I kind of wanted to save it for quotes, but I can't. My other favorite moment right after that is when she's about to stab that dude, and then like as they're about to come for her, who was sending them to come for her? She's the queen now. Where are the guards coming from?
And she rolled a 20 on stealth. She got those guys quietly.
Right. Also, if they kill her, there's no ruler of fucking Egypt. But okay, whatever. Anyway, also
the Pharaoh could have had a brother.
Steve the Pharaoh.
Okay,
sure.
I guess.
Yeah, Steve the Pharaoh.
Steve the Pharaoh. So, like, the other thing is the voiceover says, right as she's banging that dude and she's about to get, like, the demon to come into him, or she's going to kill him, whatever's going to happen there, then the voiceover says, and they plan to wreak vengeance upon humanity. What for? What did humanity do to you? Like, your dad banged a lady.
You followed the law and arrested me and mummified me.
I don't understand why is she's angry because maybe she won't be queen. What does that got? Is she pissed about the patriarchy? Because I could use that, I'd understand, but I could use some more explanation here.
And then also,
that is the whole premise for the whole movie, and it makes no fucking sense. Why didn't you just stab him? Why did you need to call an evil demon into you? I don't comprehend.
That also brings up, this is not a joke, but why did she need a man for this?
Yes.
Because she already got the dark spirit in her?
Yeah.
And is her vessel
women
not good
can't
enough?
do anything without men, man. Also, the part where they chain her up and I'll look at her. Anyway, that's just.
So, I mean, I get that mummies need a good bang every now and then, but like, just have the bang and then do your thing.
Yeah.
Could she have doubled down on the demon and just stabbed herself?
Whoa.
And it's like double demon. She's got fucking 4 irises. I mean, why not, right? Then she could have 6.
Yeah.
Why did she need a man?
I didn't fully understand it. Yeah, because I was like, because then at the end, how he circumvents the entire thing, I was like,
it's really
that also didn't make
excuse to make her want to bang Tom Cruise. Why would a mummy want to bang Tom Cruise? Well, she needs him.
That still doesn't make sense to why she wants to bang him.
Yeah.
I mean the whole she loves him thing. It was really just kind of. I mean, I guess it's love at first sight for Tom Cruise, which I mean I could understand. He is Tom Cruise. People seem to love him.
I mean,
I usually do.
I've seen people on Twitter saying like, well, she's just very horny, and like, what's wrong with that? It's like, well, yeah, but the movie doesn't establish that as like.
Yeah, but even fucking Child's Play realized after a while that you can go for a different chosen one.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't always need to go after Andy.
She did.
I know it's a deep cut on the Child's Play reference, but still.
She went after a different chosen one in this movie.
Well, no, she only went after Tom Cruise. The first guy died, and then she's like, all right, well, now that guy. Oh, that guy doesn't want me to. But still, that's the one. Why couldn't she just go, oh, he doesn't want to, but I bet his dumbass friend would. Oh, I'll just go for the friend. The logic in this movie is flawed.
You know what? What kind of struck me as similar, and I don't know if anyone drew this line, maybe I'm just making this up. It oddly reminded me of Suicide Squad and the weird, like, because they also had the woman who had the power, who, you know, I don't know, did anyone else?
I haven't seen
I didn't pick up on it, but I can see what you're putting down. That makes
like,
sense.
The entire movies are not the same, but I was like, when I saw her and like the whole thing, I was like, oh, this kind of reminds me of Suicide Squad.
I mean, the character design's kind of similar, and the whole, like, she's trying to raise a bigger, badder male version of herself. Yeah, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Is there a name for it? But like, it's like this mystic.
Shitty.
Well, yeah. But like this mystic female character who's supposedly badass, but then as soon as like anything else enters the equation that's even remotely not coded female, she's weak to it. Or like
weak evil temptress.
Yeah, like as soon as she turns Tom Cruise, the way they shoot her, the way she carries herself is suddenly just subservient. It was a subtle change in the way she acted.
Oh my! Like the way that they had her captured in Russell Crowe's like Demon Den or whatever the fuck it was.
That's what I mean. She was so in chains and everyone's staring at her and going to use her.
It was really
weird,
like a really submissive pose they got her into. Like it was a very.
I actually told my husband because like those were long scenes they were coming to. I was like, that had to be uncomfortable to shoot, to be in that position for hours, I'm guessing. And I was just like, yeah, I don't know.
But I mean, beyond all like the problematics of the way they treat women, the way they shoot the script, the way they even Tom Cruise's character, like all those things, like it just. The core filmmaking was off. Like the pacing in the movie is like it's almost intolerable. Like that last sequence when they're in like the cave with the girl just died. I forget her name. The blonde girl.
Who Tom Cruise doesn't even
my
like.
God.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That lady had no personality.
No, none whatsoever, and no chemistry with Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
and Tom
no.
Cruise
Right.
is the easiest person in the world to have
Such an
chemistry
empty
with. Look
vessel.
at any movie with Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
But like that scene just felt like it went on forever, and it's like
It
the
did,
climax of the movie, and it just never ended.
Also, the whole underwater swimming with the mummy or whatever.
Only certain mummies can swim. Remember that.
Right.
Well, the ones that couldn't had chainmail on, so I just assumed
Okay.
that it was about the chainmail.
I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But it also reminded me of Edge of Tomorrow, which is a much better film, but it's
Yeah.
also Tom Cruise swimming after an alien with a girl.
So as Tom Cruise is getting older, do you think he's like, I can't run as much, just put me in swimming? Because now we have like Edge of Tomorrow, Mission Impossible 4 or 5.
I think 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now this one, I think we're
thought
getting
of-
Tom Cruise swimming now.
I thought of Mission Impossible 5. Yeah, I think it's 5 when he's underwater. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah. That was a really long scene. I was like, he swims, he's got to
That'd
go
be
get
a
her,
long
and then he's got to swim back. I was like, it's a really long. I was like, he can hold his breath a very long time.
Yeah.
It's like a really long scene, oddly. I was like,
But that's kind of how I felt about almost every scene in this movie. I'm like, this movie could have been an hour, 10 minutes. Like,
Right.
easy. Like, every single scene has so much fat. And it's like,
Well, and this is also another example of one of those ones that it's like it's so in a hurry to get to the plot points, but then they don't do that. They're not in a hurry. Like you can tell that they're urgently like, I can't wait for you to see this part. I can't wait to connect these dots, but I'm just going to take forever because I need this scene. This is so great.
And then we have like a whole scene of Mr. Hyde coming out that doesn't really have anything to do with the plot. It just like is like FY.
it's an advertisement for the next franchise. I mean,
yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it was
I mean-
so like weird. It was like, why is this here?
And it's a weird twist on the Jekyll and Hyde thing where it's like he's taking medicine to not be Hyde, whereas in the original he took medicine to become Hyde. Like it was part of an addiction thing. Yeah. And this is more of a survival. Like there's a take on that where that could be interesting of like you need this medication to survive. And there's ramifications. The movie's not interested in any of that.
yeah, but he's got to take it like every 15 minutes. How does he even fucking sleep?
I also admit I was very okay, guys. I was not paying full attention to this movie. I was shoe shopping, and
I imagine you're walking around a store with it on your phone.
No,
I know you're probably sitting at home on
I
your
was
laptop,
on
but
Zappos. But that would be awesome too.
Yeah.
It's like,
You had the Samsung goggles on there with like a slight eye.
No, but like, so I missed the part where he said his name was Dr. Jekyll. And so when we get to the part where he's like, his face is contorting and he's injecting himself, I thought he was like part mummy. And I was just like, wait, what's happening?
I will
was
say,
so confused.
because I had to watch it twice because I didn't pay attention the first time. And the first, I forgot that they were introducing the monster universe. So whenever he came up, I was like, why did they name him Dr. Jekyll? Because that can be I was like, why would they pick that name? I was like, oh, I forgot that they're trying to like launch all this other stuff. And it's like, yeah. I was
funny
like,
thing-
why is he here? What is he doing?
Kurtzman did the same thing in this one they did in Amazing Spider-Man 2, which admittedly I enjoy for my own reasons. I'm not going to get into them. But he did the exact same bullshit where he had somebody walk through a hall of potential sequels. Like, it's like, what are you doing, man? Like, just tell your story. And the Jekyll and Hyde scene, like, admit I enjoy it because it was the only fun thing in the movie. But at the same time, like, it made me more disappointed in the rest of the movie. Like every single thing, I'm like, oh, this could have worked, and then it didn't, and now I'm sad.
It just felt out of place, and I guess the storyline was like the woman worked for him.
Yeah,
is all it was. And I was like, I guess.
So you want intrigue in this movie too? I mean,
But
come
it's
on.
like, here's this mummy movie, and then insert
Monster Shield.
Jekyll sequence, get out of it, back to mummy. Or like, okay.
It was a huge studio note that went on for 20 minutes of the movie. And
Right.
I guess that's fine.
And then and then the problem with any of these things with secret organizations that are so cool and impenetrable, it's the smallest, the dumbest thing that takes them down every time. Mm-hmm. Like you would have safeguards against evil incarnate if you had like she could conjure spiders and the woman
They can crawl in your ear.
They crawl in your ear and they can possess you. They have these powers. There's things you don't know, and she's in this open container that's not really like she could walk out of if she wanted.
But they're pumping her full of mercury.
Oh yeah, it's probably diluted. Like they probably bought it from Costco.
Costco mercury.
It's on sale.
I did like the shot of her throwing up the mercury. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
That was cool. Yeah.
And I was like,
we were working really hard to find things that
yeah,
are like
I'm trying, man. Like this
Tried
was
really hard.
Oh, the silver puke. That was a cool scene.
Also, I want to go back to what you just said, which was this could have worked and then it didn't, and now I'm sad. Like, that is a back of the box quote for this movie. Bryan Dressel after the hype.
I mean, it was close.
It just feels like a movie we didn't need aside from the launching of a potential franchise. Like, because what was wrong with... I like the other Mummy, the Brendan...
That's a good movie. It's fun.
The Mummy and the Mummy Returns were great. I wasn't a big fan of Dragon Empire, but it was fine.
I don't think I saw that.
Scorpion King was a waste of time, but like the first two, like the Stephen Sommers ones, they were great. Like they were just fun, campy,
and they had a sense of adventure. Like the Mummy is like, to me, based off of those movies, the Mummy is an adventure film. You're globetrotting, finding lost artifacts. You find the one that fucks you up.
Also, go ahead.
No, I was saying it felt like inspired like Indiana Jones, like that sort of just like that really kind of cool thing. And
this is Uncharted with mummies. You know?
Yeah, totally.
Also, like their partnerships. The Mummy wanted Imhotep. Imhotep was the girl, right? Yeah, because
Imhotep was the guy.
Knocks on the moon.
Okay, Knocks on the moon. Yeah. All right, he wanted her because they were like partners. And then once we saw like the power of the two of them together, it was like, holy shit, they gonna fuck shit up, you know. And Brendan Fraser and
Rachel Weisz.
Yes, Rachel Weisz also had like a partnership.
Yeah,
they were both in two. Yeah. That's true. But they both had a little bit. They both had things that they both had personalities, and then they started to work together. And there was like it was less about like the Mummy wasn't trying to bang Brendan Fraser. I guess that's the thing is I like that it was the love.
I totally watched that. The guy who played the Mummy and Brendan Fraser make out. I'm on board.
Tumblr has got you covered.
Or even Rachel. I guess he was trying to bang Rachel Weisz actually.
But I like what you're saying about that.
But he kind of wasn't. He was trying to bang her to get his wife back.
And there's a sense of like with the kid in Mummy Returns, like there's two sets of parents vying for the control of each other. There's a lot of themes, even just in this silly, fun adventure movie, that are just they make it seem easy that they throw that in there, and this just gurgled on a billion different things. I don't have a better word for that.
No, it's a great word.
No, that works. That totally works. Unlike this movie, it's weird. We haven't done a negative one in so long. I'm like at it, like, and this one was so bad. Like,
and I weirdly went into this wanting this one to work. It's like, oh man, everyone just reacted to this.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I watched the trailer, and a friend of the show, Jackson Stewart, and I were talking on like Facebook chat because he posted like, this will be the worst movie of the year. I'm like, come on, I want to see it, and he immediately replied like, no, you fucking don't. I'm like, I was like, no, come on. It looks like bad fun. And, like, I can get behind bad fun. Like, I can enjoy a terrible movie if it knows it's a terrible movie and just has fun the whole way through. I'm on board for that. I love that. This was not that. This was a movie that thought it was the coolest movie at school, and it was, just like everyone who thinks it's the coolest person at school, it really fucking wasn't. But again, back to trying to find something positive. The score wasn't bad.
No.
Right? Score? Music was,
I guess,
it was fine.
Yeah.
I did like. I mean, a lot of movies look good because we're just in. It's 2017, but the shots and stuff, just the way the sand, like it looked nice. Like it looked obviously like it should have for 120 million, but otherwise, I don't know. I can't think of anything.
And like the design of the Mummy was cool.
No. I hated the design of the Mummy. It was.
Well, I mean, I'm using quotation marks around cool because, like...
You did not use quotation marks. I'm telling the audience
there's no air quotes. John's a fucking liar.
Well, way to out me, you asshole. This is an audio podcast. Just because I'm not waving my hands around going quotation marks.
It matters. The audience can hear the finger quotes. See, they just heard it.
I heard that.
But no, the problem was that... They had the idea for a mummy that I thought could be really cool, but like they instead just wanted to make someone who's admittedly a very attractive, very fit, badass chick who keeps popping up in movies, and the more she does, the more happy I am to see her and stuff because she's good at what she does. Like, well, let's put her in as little as possible. And like this movie had this weird urge to try to sexualize both the mummy and then the blonde girl, and it didn't really know how to do it. But it's like, but this is what we do, so let's just keep. Focusing like the weird belly shot on the blonde girl plane. Like, what the fuck was that? Like,
that was a very weird shot, and it came out of nowhere. And then it just, I couldn't get on board with Tom Cruise at all past that point.
No, they made him the most unlikable person in the movie.
Yeah. Oh no, I was totally rooting for the Mummy.
Yeah, and it's of course it's a weird like you have
to murder everyone because they all suck.
I mean, love him or hate him, like Tom Cruise is usually cast as the likable guy in a movie. It's usually in his contract, one way or another, unless he's playing a way against type, like say like Tropic Thunder. But even
in
then,
Edge of Tomorrow, you still like him despite
Yeah.
the fact that he's a dick.
Yeah, and
Right.
but you take who is arguably one of the only people left in Hollywood who still has star power. If you put him in a movie, it will sell. Even if it doesn't sell here, it'll still sell overseas, as this one proved. And you make him a horrible dickhead, and it's just like, what? Why?
Well, and they start out like, here's what you don't even know he's military in the beginning, but he's like, let's basically use the military presence to go loot this town and this place, and then once he gets in the tomb, then he shoots the thing, like he sets everything in motion. It's like he does all the dickhead stuff. You're like looting and then breaking in and then unleashing this thing, and then it's like, yeah, what is there to like? I don't know what you're supposed to.
And just on top of that, like they even doubled down on it. Like when they're like, oh, well, maybe he's a good guy inside. And they have that whole awkward conversation where we really should have learned her name. Blonde lady.
I think it's Jennifer.
Jennifer?
Oh, that's right. The only reason I remember that is because it matches our playlist.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I saw it on the piece of paper because he stole the piece of paper and it said, "Dear Jennifer," or like
okay.
the coordinates.
But so
not a good character.
No, but like when Jennifer's talking to him and it says, like, I know you're a good person because deep down inside there's somewhere in there the good dude. He's like, why would you think that? She's like, well, you gave me the own parachute. You saved my life. And they double down. It's like, I thought there was a second parachute. It's a great moment in a movie that just confirms, like, oh no, he's a horrible person. Why are we rooting for him?
Although that's the only moment where I can relate to her in that movie, where she's like, I know deep down you're a good person. Yeah. No, he's not. Get out of there. Like, I've been there.
I mean, I'm trying to think just from a writer's standpoint, like, what is the conversation? Because I guess
I was thinking that too.
Because the takeaway is, right, spoiler, he stabs himself, ends up with the power, and he's a monster, thus continuing, I'm guessing, if they do another one or he enters someone else, like Tom Cruise is whatever they call him.
Mummy now? The mummy?
He's the mummy now. So I'm guessing that was the thing you were trying to get to, right? Like, that's why you would take your big star. That's how you could insert him, possibly do another one, or stick him in another movie. Like, is that what they were trying to get to?
I think so, because I think that's that last line from Russell Crowe. Like, sometimes it takes a monster to fight a monster.
Right.
Basically, they're trying to make League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yeah.
So
it's like, how do we get this power into? I mean, that may have not. It may not have been that simple, but I'm trying to think, like, what? How do you get from? How did we get the movie that we saw? Like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, that's an excellent question that I'm not even sure if the people involved could answer. But the thing is, like, I think there's a better movie, like, at almost every turn. Like, every time there's a choice, I feel like they made the wrong choice. Yeah. Like, it would have been a more interesting movie if when he came back, he wasn't cursed and waiting for it. If he came back because he got stabbed with a knife at some point in there, and he came back, he already had the power, and it's him wrestling with being the god of death or being Tom Cruise. That would be a more interesting movie to me, and then it's him learning he has to be both. Would have been better than I'm waiting to get stabbed by a knife the whole time.
So when they're down there at the very beginning, she gets him. She gets him immediately, but then it's not like. So then it's that kind of chase of the two lovers.
Yeah.
Coming back together
or
again.
If she didn't get him immediately, if it's the Nick guy from, not Nick Tom Cruise Nick from New Girl Nick,
right?
But if he didn't stab the general, if he stabbed Tom Cruise with the ceremonial knife in the plane, and that's
that.
how.
Okay, cool, yeah.
Better choices.
That's like one simple little divert, we
were about to say, like, I wonder about the conversations that were had, because, like, the conversation about the whole premise, I feel like it was somebody who was like, ooh, what if, women are big now. What if we make the mummy a woman? And then it's like, well, what, she's out to kill men. Yeah, except Tom Cruise, she wants to fuck him. Okay, let's build an entire plot around that. And it was just, I don't know, that's sort of what how I imagine this going.
Well, and there's a sneaking thing kind of in the back of my mind that I've been noticing in these movies where it's like we try to get the women in the main role just to get a cookie, get a cookie type of filmmaking where it's like, cool, we give you your chance, but then at the very end, now Tom Cruise is the mummy. Now we're back to the dudes again, so you should be happy with this one.
I mean, that's very the Kurtzman and Nortz of it all.
Yeah.
You look at almost anything they've made, it usually comes back to that. And it's like, it's not like they've only made bad movies. I enjoyed their Star Trek ones. The Mission Impossible 3 I thought was really good. Like, they've done good stuff, but they've also done the Transformers 1 and 2. And
yeah, I just can't help but think that they had just the franchise, the monster universe in the forefront, because it's like you have the mummy, so you need a mummy of some sort, and then you have Tom Cruise, but Tom Cruise is going to be the one to carry on, because that woman, I don't know the actress's name, but she was not going to go on to. So you have to figure out how can you make this live on in Tom Cruise's body, basically, or like how do you keep him going, because he's going to be the people that everyone goes to see. because of the Jekyll thing too. I'm like, why would it just didn't fit? And I was like, they just had to have been like just shoving in, just like Monster Universe. We've got to launch this. We got to launch this. Is what I kept when I was watching. I was like, that's to me all they kind of cared about because the characters weren't. I didn't care about him. I didn't care about her. I didn't care about them together, whether they lived or died. Like I just didn't.
Well, you look
feel
at
anything.
You look at that promotional picture that they took of themselves, kind of sitting in a dark room, kind of like just all in nice suits and stuff, and it's like she doesn't fit in the continued presence of the franchise. She doesn't. No. She doesn't like there's too many people in that picture.
Well, like, I mean, the problem with the franchise in general is it's the same thing that I mean. I like the DC movies. I know I'm in the minority there, but
I can appreciate why you like them though.
Yeah,
that's
but
the thing.
It's the same problem that they're having, where it's like DC is more concerned with making movies that build up their franchise than they are with making good movies, and to a much lesser extent or much greater extent, that's what this movie did. So they could have made a good mummy movie and at the end gone, oh, and by the way, it's in the same universe as Frankenstein and Creature from Black Lagoon and all those other things. Kind of like how Kong Skull Island did it. And it would have been make the good movie first and then tie it into the universe, which is what they attempted to do with Man of Steel, but whatever. This movie was so concerned with advertising a larger universe that it forgot to make its movie.
Right.
What's the next one supposed to be?
I honestly don't know. But they were all like in that photo, that press junket photo that they apparently actually weren't all in the same room for, which I find very funny.
It's funny but believable. As someone who does a bunch of Photoshop stuff for us, I believe it.
But yeah, they have all the major monsters cast. They have all the movies like prepped and ready to go. But it was all riding on whether or not this one was successful, and it really wasn't.
Who else has been cast? Do you know off the top of your head?
Isn't Javier Bardem like the Frankenstein's monster?
That's actually good casting.
I don't know if he was Frankenstein's monster or if he was Wolfman.
That's less good casting.
Benicio del Toro would make a good Wolfman.
He's already done it.
Oh, is that why?
Yeah.
I was like, wait, I'm picturing him as a wolf.
And didn't they already did a Dracula movie where they kind of did
Dracula
a soft start to this dark universe?
Start soft and end. Same with I, Frankenstein.
Maybe
it up,
after
it's down.
You've done enough of these, maybe stop.
Yeah.
They're all shitty. Stop.
I actually don't love big. Maybe I'm just one of those. I have a problem like when Tom Cruise is, but even like the Jekyll thing with Russell Crowe, it's like I couldn't help but not see Russell Crowe. Like I oddly like people I don't see a lot being in. But I understand why you don't put those people in because you need the star power. But I'm just like, when you put these big Javier Bardem, I'm just like, all I'm going to see is them. I'm like, it's hard for a lot of people to transform themselves into the roles. And so I'm just like, I wish they would just go, I don't know, cast.
I feel like, too, part of the problem is this desire to, they all see what Marvel's doing. Every major studio wants to be what Marvel is. Like, wants to have this big juggernaut, guaranteed success property that you can just keep going to the well over and over again. But the difference is Marvel created its own studio because they were tired of watching other studios fuck up their people, fuck up their characters. So after that the Fantastic Four movie where they were like, okay, enough's enough. We're tired of watching our properties be bashed. And they already have this well of stories that they're passionate about that they created themselves that now they're like, okay, we can tell these stories, but we know how to tell them best. It was created like out of a desire to accomplish something. The other studios that are trying this are largely being like, how can we be more like them? Let's find a property that we can create into something like what Marvel has. Whereas averse to Marvel doing it like, how can we make these properties, which were already an existing world.
And they're not really good at kind of looking at the history of that because the Marvel movies, when they first started connecting things, there wasn't this huge grand plan other than getting to Avengers. And there was kind of like, we hope we can get the next movie. So here's a tag that might get people hyped for it. Here's these tags like, we want to do this. This is cool. Let's keep going until it runs out. And now Marvel movies are doing this same, like it's kind of closing the Ouroboros. They're coming back and doing kind of what Dark Universe is doing now with theirs, where it's like, they have to fit these things now. We have to get to Thanos. Like they're doing that now, but they've also built it up. They've put the work in.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've made my a scene where Jekyll and Hyde fight.
Yeah, I say like my opinions on Marvel are well documented throughout this podcast. But you know, the long and short of it is they've earned the right to kind of be like, all right, we're going to advertise for the next movie because we know you're going.
They earned the right for their Civil War movie.
Yeah, sure.
Whereas like this movie is trying to start with Civil War.
Yeah, and just I finally figured it out. So Javier Bardem is Frankenstein's monster. Sorry, and then the only other one that's officially cast so far is Johnny Depp as the Invisible Man.
Nobody wants to see Johnny Depp do anything.
Well, he's the Invisible Man, so we're fine.
That's true.
But
He'll still find a way to do weird makeup and
act weird, and then there's going to be this kind of skeevy component of him being invisible, being able to do whatever he wants.
And he's gonna look
when
up
in
women's
Hollywood he
skirts
can
or
do
something.
whatever he wants.
Yeah,
Like
so
there's coding in that I don't like.
The rumor right now is they're trying to get Angelina Jolie for the Bride of Frankenstein. Which,
I'd love to see Angelina Jolie and Johnny Depp together again now after what's happened, but okay.
yeah,
I'm sure she would love that.
yeah, I'm sure it's gonna work out great.
So as Bride of Frankenstein, that would be fun.
With
Question
Javier
mark?
Bardem.
I mean, it would be, but it's still Kurtzman on board, so
Yeah.
it's like I said, I'm not 100% against Kurtzman. I think he's done good stuff, but
Well, I think that
by and large, I'm not usually.
what's probably the most unfortunate thing about this is that when you put some of these things on paper, you're like, oh, cool, a team up of all the monsters. I like the monsters. Like more so with these monster movies, these movies, the ideas behind them are exciting.
Yeah, but I'm more in line to because apparently it's all leading to a Van Helsing movie, which I'd much rather them all lead to a Monster Squad movie.
See, that would be...
But we've already had Van Helsing movie.
Yeah, and it wasn't great, and it was also done by Steven Sommers.
You said it, not me.
I also feel like a lot of times, like all of these gothic things were created of a time. Like gothic literature was created because of the era in which it existed. It was a product of the times. I mean, for one thing, one of the reasons The Mummy is so popular, there was this huge, when the tombs were discovered in Egypt, there was a huge surge in interest in ancient Egypt. So that's where that comes from. And like what's the motivation now for all this? I mean, I know Penny Dreadful was really successful, but also Penny Dreadful was a product of, we were in kind of a dark place when that show, because after going through, terrorism and everything else. So what is the motivation behind this dark universe? Is there a purpose
Money.
for it?
Yeah, it's money.
I know, but like culturally...
Well, no, but that's why it didn't catch. Because like if there was a want for it, it would have done well in spite of the bad reviews. I mean, look at Suicide Squad. It was one of the worst reviewed movies of the year. Still made $1 billion international, didn't it? Or close, like 800 million, something like that. Made a shit ton of money.
And maybe again, that's why Marvel is so successful. It's also a story about heroes.
Yeah.
And we really, when Iron Man came out, I mean, we wanted a hero really badly.
So I mean, I think you're kind of hitting the nail on the head. This movie was unsuccessful because it was a movie nobody really wanted. And if it had gone against the grain, it had been an incredible movie. I still don't think it would have done that well. Like if it had been the best movie of the summer, like rave reviews, people still don't want it. Like they're just not listening to what people want to see. Which is, I mean, sometimes it's fine, and you can movie like Edge of Tomorrow, which is fantastic, but still didn't do that well. There's something to be said about like giving the people what they want.
I think that's partly a product because now they're setting things out for 2018, 2019. Like they're slotting things in 4 or 5 years ahead of time. They generally, I think, don't care. They're just gonna we're gonna keep putting these out until people stop watching them. And like I may be in the minority here, but I'm not a big superhero fan. So I don't watch a lot of. I did go see Wonder Woman, but the Avengers, and I watched Iron Man early on, but like I don't go see a lot of those sequels and the Avengers and stuff. Just not, and I'm kind of oversaturated with it too now at this point. So I don't go. I just skip it.
Well, there's a sense of like because of this, there's such a commodification of this with all the like these keynotes where they have like a timeline, like this is a freaking Apple event.
Oh yeah,
and it's like we're just
fucking D23 man.
Yeah, so then you see that and you're just like, okay, in our minds as we see those things, it's like, oh cool, look at all these movies. But in the back of your mind, you're also kind of getting the idea that it doesn't matter if these are any good, and they don't care these are any like you're kind of getting there's like a Pavlov response where you're just like, oh, this is just meat. This is just a bunch of meat that they're trying to sell me, and it's going to just whatever. So it kind of ties into your being kind of oversaturated with it, because I feel tired after any of those events.
But here's the thing: is like I agree with you 100%. It's annoying to look at these things and like it's a weird time to be living in where the production companies and everybody like Universal have really pulled back the veil on we're doing this to make money. That's it. And the more you pay attention, the more it's like, yeah, Disney's very forward about it. We have all these sequels and prequels and remakes lined all the way through 2022. Like that's what we're doing now. Give us your money. We'll take. You can buy in advance if you prefer. But the difference is if you get somebody say like who's doing all like the Warner Brothers is doing like the new like Godzilla and Kong Skull Island, like they're doing the exact same thing. We're doing a big monster universe, but they're getting people who want to make the movies, who are excited about working with Godzilla and King Kong and all these things, and they could not be more happy. This is what they want to do their entire lives. The movies come out and they're good, and people go see them. With a movie like this, I don't think Kurtzman has ever given a shit about The Mummy in his entire life. And it's like, which movie am I making? The Mummy? All right, yeah, I can write that.
Oh, and it's clear with the way all the themes of all the monsters are bungled. And they don't even match a modern issue. Because with Jekyll and Hyde, you have a perfect opportunity to deal with the drug problem or the way we treat drugs.
There's so many things you can tell with these stories, but if you're getting people involved who are just doing it for a paycheck, and I can't guarantee that's why they did this. It's what it feels like to me.
And it's not necessarily a bad thing in the context of the world.
But it is, because when you have the movies in the franchise where people want to make them, like, even like I know I've been kind of against Force Awakens, but you can see love on that screen in every single frame.
Sure.
So like it's such a difference. Like I don't give a shit if the studios are being honest or dishonest about they're doing this to make money. Give us the movie that people want to see, and I'll forgive it. I'll give you the money. Yeah. Take it. It's yours.
We want to suspend our disbelief.
Yeah, I'm happy to give my money for a movie that was made by somebody who wanted to.
I would
make
1,000 times rather people could be accusing Force Awakens of being a fan film. I'd rather, well, I love Force Awakens anyway, but I'd rather watch a fan film than a film that was made by people who are like, you know what's wrong with your story? I'm gonna fix it for you.
Yeah. It's a very strange time to be a movie fan, but I mean, we are still getting good things, and it's still possible. There are amazing stories that can be told with the Universal monsters. I refuse to believe otherwise. Like there is a reason these characters are still popular and still prevalent in pop culture. This was the wrong way to go.
I can't wait to go to Universal now that they've revised the ride. I haven't been since they changed the ride to accommodate the new movie.
The Mummy ride they changed?
Yeah, I think they were planning on. I don't know if they changed the actual ride or if they were just changing the decorations.
I'll say, like, I went on it about a month ago. It was the same.
Okay. I went, a couple months ago, because it's my favorite. Okay. It's my favorite ride at Universal. So I don't know why.
They changed it when the Dragon movie came out. So they changed, but that's just the decorations. They didn't change the actual.
Does Tom Cruise just pop up?
Instead of the mummies, it's
just Tom Cruise.
He's running after you the whole time.
I mean, I would go on that ride immediately. Yeah, swimming, of course. You gotta. He's 55. He can't run anymore.
I want a tag movie with him.
What?
Where people are playing tag. That's the whole conceit of the movie.
I just want him in more comedies. He can be really funny.
Tropic Thunder saved his career.
Oh, he was so fucking good.
I was going to say, you want more Night and Day?
Oh, don't get me fucking started.
Cameron Diaz.
I can rant for hours on that fucking
I also
thing.
can rant. Oh my god.
I never saw it.
Let's just do an episode. Have you done that movie?
I don't ever want to watch it again.
Because I was like, we could do a whole episode of just one giant fucking
you know
back
what?
and forth.
We do have battle episodes every now and then, just so you keep it in mind.
Let's just
find a way.
Battle Night and Day.
I would totally do a Tom Cruise battle.
Versus Con.
Tom Cruise battle? Okay, that's coming.
Yeah.
I love Tom Cruise. Is there anything we haven't talked about in this thing that we want to? Anything we haven't complained, praised? Anything? We've been talking for a while about it. That's how I feel about it too.
Everyone seems to be pretty accepting of him crawling out of a body bag. How did he get into the body bag? So
Science.
So the plane crashes. They find his dead body, but there's no scratches on it, I guess? Or was he mangled and he just healed himself? And then they were like, oh, this guy's dead. And they put him in a body bag.
If that's what it should have been, they should have shown that, because that'd be awesome.
Wakes up.
It seems like they just forgot to put a scene in the movie.
Yeah, and then he wakes up in a body bag, and you're like, okay, how'd he get here? Also, everyone's like, oh, you're fine. Why were you in a body bag? Didn't someone find your dead body? Aren't they really shocked?
This is going to sound super nerdy, because I had also the same question. But then they explained it through, like, whatever the power, or, like, whatever. I think he was protected. But there were other bodies on the table, and I watched a show on the Smithsonian called Air Disasters, and it's just all about plane crashes and stuff. But basically, anything that crashes it should have just been obliterated. So there should have been like no bodies, and then just Tom Cruise, I guess, because he lived.
See, that would have been interesting. Like nothing ever, like everything was just dust.
Yeah,
and then you're here.
You get vaporized essentially.
Right, but like Unbreakable, where like he just is fine and everything else is destroyed.
That would have been more interesting.
Because they cut to her crying. Like, can you identify the bodies? I'm like, we missed scenes. I missed scenes. Why are you crying? You hate him. You yelled at him like 10 minutes earlier.
But he
saved her.
Yeah, the movie really felt at odds with itself. I'm like, no, they're a couple. Why? They don't like each other. Yeah, but because it's supposed to
save her.
Well, and then they went from crying, accident. And then she walks in on him and he's naked. and then he's like trying to do the funny bit of like hiding. I was like, the tonally, it's like, oh, I'm sad that he's dead. I'll walk in on him naked, and he's trying to hide his private.
There's 3 dick jokes in the first 30 minutes of this movie.
After like seeing them together, they were like, oh shit, we've missed cast. Quick, let's rewrite some scenes that make them a couple. You know, like, when she walks in and sees them naked, haha, then we'll like them together.
It's really a problem at the end when it's like I think you're supposed to get that that's his motivation to like basically beat up the woman because he wants to bring her back. Like she's dead. Maybe if I take this power, I guess I can bring her back. You know, that's why he's like screaming over her body at the end. I was like, but I don't care if either one. I don't know. I just didn't care. I was like, ugh.
They never did a good job establishing why he'd want her back to life.
Right.
Like it really felt like, especially that character at the very end of the movie, she'd be lying there dead. He goes, "Oh man, I fucked that up."
Yeah.
And that'd be the end of it.
We slept together that one time.
Yeah, that one time, and apparently I lasted longer than 15 seconds.
And
just make sure
they labored on that joke for a long time.
Way too long.
Because like more than 15 seconds into that joke, I was like, "Can you be done with this joke?"
And then, just in case you didn't get enough of it, they bring it back 10 minutes later. Yay!
Yeah. So he's cursed, or he's got the whatever. I'm not even clear on it, but I guess that's the.
Yep.
He's got the power. But what's weird is they came full circle with him and the guy that Jake Johnson that they brought back, and it looked just like the beginning. I was like, he doesn't look like he. And they did the voiceover of like, and the evil will always call to him. I was like, he looks fine to me.
They didn't show his face, and he had mummy hands.
That's true. Okay,
but that's what's great about it, like, because they shot the scene from the beginning, and then they went and changed clothes, and they came back and they shot the scene from the end. So like they probably still
stop ruining the magic.
No, but Jake Johnson looks like he was just there 3 seconds ago because he fucking was.
Oh yeah.
He probably didn't even get a touch up on his makeup. He probably just threw a new shirt on him.
I do have one more thing on Courtney B. Vance. A lot of money to take that strange role. Strange. I don't know if it's strange. The lieutenant that got stabbed.
Oh, right, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe because I watched a lot of TV. I was like, oh, Courtney B. Vance. This must be a big role. I'm like, no, he just gets stabbed later.
That's like in Salt. What's his name from Brooklyn? Andre Braugher.
Brower's
in Salt. He's like one line and then he dies. Spoiler alert.
Like,
I mean, I
Courtney
guess
B. Vance won some Emmys. I was like, what are you doing on the money? I guess money.
What are you doing on the money?
What are you doing on the money?
I'm getting stabbed on the money.
Mean, you don't know who called him. If it's Tom Cruise, apparently he's very hard to say no to.
Oh, okay.
You hear
that
anyone?
Could have been anyone. It didn't have to be Courtney B. Vance. It wasn't like I like Courtney B. Vance. I was like.
But you hear the stories, like just like the insider baseball, if you will, of like when Tom Cruise calls you for a project. You can, like, the second he starts talking, you're like, no, I have something else. And by the end of it, you're like, wait, what did I just agree to? Yeah. Like, apparently he's the greatest salesman in all of, like, LA.
Scientology, man.
Yeah, he's good. Okay, I think it's time for quotes. This
is such a great movie for quotes, you guys.
I actually think the lines are pretty good. I think that's...
I bet we all wrote down probably, like, the same 4 or 5.
It's it usually happens. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with because the other ones here I'm like, oh, these are totally picked. There was this one, I think it was right after they uncovered the tomb or whatever, but it's Tom Cruise's character. He goes, I saw her, the chick in the box. I just thought it was interesting. He called this crazy mummy woman a chick, and I'm like, really? But also like, who uses that word? Maybe it's just me. I've never heard anyone say chick instead of like.
It's not of this time.
I guess, but it's like the chick in the box. I'm like, that's your choice of word for that, the crazy thing that's about that. I don't know. So I thought that was kind of.
Yeah, that's
stood out to me.
It's a weirdly youthful line for a time where that's not what youth say anymore.
Yeah.
Especially in like a dire situation, like the chick in the box.
Speaking of youth, my line comes in. It's where Russell Crowe looks at him and goes, "You're a younger man," and I had to go with it. He's like, "He's 55 and you're 53."
It's true life.
But I did kind of like that. Like, you're a younger man, but you'll learn to look out for men like me. It's kind of a cool thing if you're saying to a 20-year-old, but to a guy who's 2 years older than him and arguably not a younger man.
So weird.
Odd choice for a line. Felt like one of those ones like, should we rewrite this? Nah.
My line is just Russell Crowe's delivery of the line, evil, the ultimate evil. When asked, like, chosen by what? He just camps it up. Like, evil, the ultimate evil. And I'm like, this is such a dumb line, but I appreciate that you were the one to say it. in that way.
Yeah, if only everyone was in the same movie that Russell Crowe was in, it might have been better.
Yeah.
I like when Jake Johnson at the end just goes, "Hey, thanks for bringing me back to life, man." So I feel like that encompasses how I felt the entire movie. Which was, wait, what? When did that happen?
See, there's like weird humor things in there that are just like they don't fit this movie, but
Yeah.
there's
Suddenly, there he is. He's like, "Oh, some shit happened off screen. Don't worry about it."
There's also an argument to be made that there's a pretty good drinking game in here if you drink every time Tom Cruise says, "What?" He does quite often. Especially that one scene with Russell Crowe. What? What? Lots of whats.
That is funny on a different level.
Yeah, it's something.
Yeah.
Review system for today, I think, will be very easy, but we'll see. Remakes.
Okay.
I'll go first.
Okay.
RoboCop. RoboCop for me was a movie that it reeked of, well, fuck, we got to make money on something. People liked RoboCop, didn't they? What if he was black now? And this one kind of has the same of like, yeah, mommy, want to make money. What if it was a woman? We have enough to make a movie, right?
Total Recall.
Oof.
Because it's terrible. And because there was just all this like, look at this cool stuff we can put in this movie. Look at all the cool stuff, and here's a hot actor. You'll like it, right?
Another movie that didn't understand the first one was campy and fun. You leave the kit behind, and it's a very dumb movie.
Yeah.
Was that another Paul Verhoeven?
No, that was Len Wiseman.
No. Was it Len Wiseman
Oh.
remake of a Paul Verhoeven movie?
Yeah.
Was
actually.
RoboCop Paul Verhoeven? I think it was.
Well, I thought you were asking Paul Verhoeven did the remake.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Original RoboCop is Paul Verhoeven because
That's
it's
right.
got that signature like excessive gore style that he does.
Okay, yeah. It's 2 for 2.
Black Christmas. And it's because the
Man, I
remake,
hate both of those.
yeah, it misses the whole point of the original of just not knowing any origin of the slasher and being just in the slasher's head. It's like that first scene of Halloween as the whole like villain of Black Christmas original. The remake is like he's just like a weird yellow man. And it goes into this weird backstory of him in which no one gives a shit about. And it just completely breaks down kind of what the raw core of what made the original one, at least part of the slasher canon, I guess, in my mind.
I hate that movie so much.
I feel like I haven't. Is that in the 90s or early 2000s? No.
Black Christmas remake was early 2000s, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah, early 2000s.
Okay. I feel
I
like I've
say
probably seen it.
2005, I want to say.
Oh. Yeah, I think
But like
I've
the
seen
original one wasn't like 70s or something like that.
Yeah.
It was very, very...
I want to say 80s, but
Is
Very
it all
grindhousey, very
all the
grindhousey.
girls living in a house? Am I
Yeah,
thinking something
sorority,
else?
yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I do know. I'm gonna go with the off the because I like westerns. So I'm gonna do Magnificent Seven because didn't need it. Put a lot of big stars in it. Tried to make money. So, but I will say that was it was you pretty much knew what you're gonna get, and it was fun, but it wasn't anything like. There was nothing extra there other than Kristy. You have Chris Pratt and Denzel and Ethan Hawke. It's just a bunch of stars playing. It's like I don't know if we needed that. So
wasn't
I feel the same.
didn't Anton Fuqua make that one?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
really liked him too.
I feel like
That's a fine movie.
Yeah.
They made a big show about having a diverse cast, but it was like you still couldn't put a woman in there. Like
That's true. That would have made it.
seven.
Not with Chris Pratt in the cast.
Oh,
Ooh, I don't know what that
Shots
means.
fired.
But I'm gonna ask
10-1. Yay.
That's a good call to when we weren't recording there. Okay, that brings the end to today's episode on the Mummy.
We did it, guys. We did it.
Everyone just hears you say the mummy,
Yeah.
and it's like, yeah.
Sometimes it takes a monster to create a podcast episode.
Yeah. Next week should be a far more positive episode.
I am so excited
Yeah.
for next week.
What's next week?
Wonder Woman.
What?
Yeah.
Do you need a guest? I know someone.
We still need a guest. I reached out to somebody that was a real long shot, and I was really hoping she'd say yes, and she just never replied.
All right, we got somebody.
I just want to say I chose this over Wonder Woman, so
Really?
I clearly like torture. No, because I really liked Wonder Woman, but I also didn't want to be the one to like have to break it down
feel
and
you,
like
too.
say anything meaningful. So I was like, I can't screw up the mummies.
Yeah.
I already know. I got the perfect guest.
Okay. Yeah. So then after Wonder Woman, we have other stuff that I don't remember what it is, but it's all coming up. And then I'll start teasing it now. We have in October, I'm doing something new for Horror Month, which we've never done before, and that's guest choice. So every guest we have on is picking the movie that we're reviewing that month.
Whoa. That's
Yeah.
really cool.
Thank you so much, Kristy, for coming on.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
my pleasure.
Anything
Fun.
else you want to plug?
Not off the top of my head. I'm just
So just
think,
make sure everybody watches Into the Badlands.
Yeah, I have no idea. It probably won't air till sometime next year, so I don't even have an air date. But
So sometime next year, make sure you watch Into the Badlands.
2018. I couldn't even tell you where any of the other shows I worked on when they air. But no, thanks for having me. This was fun.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah.
So, bye.
Bye.